American Biodiversity and Livelihoods Association, or the MBLA. They have given us a video montage of the Biocultural Festival de Azilal, which is an example of reunion and joint reflection where local communities have the opportunity to forge links and alliances with each other around its third edition's theme, which is the Sustaining Territories of Life, a shared responsibility. So let's watch the video montage from the MBLA. Okay, thank you. Amazing video presentation. I even saw some of our members. So it's not just the glimpse of the culture of in Morocco, but also the activities of our member, the MBLA. So thank you again to the MBLA for sharing with us these moments and reminding us of the great things we can do when we get together. Okay. Now we will review a few practical matters and the revised General Assembly agenda for today. May I ask Gael to share to us some details of the agenda as well as some practical reminders.
Sure. So today we have interpretation in English, Spanish, French, and Russian. Please make sure to select the relevant channel. In order to access the interpretation from a computer, please click on the globe icon that says interpretation. In the toolbar below, from a phone or tablet, please click on the three dots, then English, then done. You can select the option mute original audio to hear the interpretation better during the videos and audios in other languages than English. If you have any problem with the interpretation, let us know in the chat. Please remember to speak slowly for the interpreters, and remember as well that interpretation cannot run over time. So it's important to be brief in your comments and the point, and help us stay within time. During discussion, use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and the chair will try to call on people in order. You can also write in the chat, but the chair may call you to explain your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gael. So I will now proceed to reading the agenda as well as the decision points to be taken in today's meeting. And then after which I will ask two members to make the motion for the approval of the revised agenda. Motion to propose a motion for the approval of the revised agenda. Okay, as this is one of the formal requirements of our General Assembly. So for today's session, we just did the opening ceremony. We're now doing the review and approval of the revised general agenda for the session. And then this will take much of the first part of the GA, which is the election of new council members. Just to remind everyone that the nominations for the new council members should have been received in good order last May 31. Okay, so we will present the nominees for the new council seats. There's a process. We will guide you through that, and then we will break afterwards. After the mid-session break, we will proceed with the approval of the action plan and the budget for 2023. This will be done by our global secretariat. The assembly, the body has to approve that action plan. And then we will have a final, it's no longer tentative, we're proceeding with it, the final review and approval of the manifesto for the territories of life. So that's going to be our last important item in the agenda. Then we will have the closing ceremony and I will close the 2023 General Assembly. Okay, so that's the run through of the agenda for session 4. May I ask our members if you have no questions or clarifications on the agenda? May I ask anyone to please make a motion for the approval and then a second to that motion? May I ask the secretary to please help me if there are members who have either raised their hands or maybe they'd like to voice their motion by speaking, or just using the reaction link to say that you're raising your hand, which means you are making that motion.
I make the motion, Teddy. Ali.
Is that Ali?
Yeah.
Okay, Ali has moved that we approve the revised agenda for session 4 of the 2023 General Assembly. Any second?
I second it.
Okay.
This is Shruti.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we approve the revised agenda for session 4 of our General Assembly. Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, then the agenda is hereby approved. Okay, now we are turning to an exciting agenda item, the election of the last batch of council members. Okay. First of all, let's briefly recall how the decisions are made at the General Assembly. We reviewed this during the previous session of the GA, and this information has been available for on Lumio for your reference. The process for all major decisions to be taken by the General Assembly is structured around two basic concepts, which is quorum. Hopefully we have the quorum today, and then the consensus. For any decision of the GA to be valid, it is necessary to have a quorum. This means that at least 1/5 of the members in good standing must participate in each GA decision. This can be reached through members' advanced participation in Lumio. So we've emailed you in advance, given you the Lumio link, and during the live GA sessions. Currently, we need the participation of 40 members, 40 member organizations to have quorum. So aside from the members who are present today, I see we have 75 participants, but of course, some of them are honorary members. So we will look at the emails, those who participated in the Lumio poll, and then also find out from the Secretariat as to how many members of good standing are present in our GA today, to determine if we have 40 members, which also determines the quorum. But otherwise, we will proceed with the elections. And after we have determined the quorum, we will now decide through consensus. That has always been our protocol in previous General Assemblies. We will, as for the consensus within the ICCA consortium, we will consider that it has been achieved when there is general agreement as well as an explicit lack of disagreement about a specific decision. So this consensus builds upon the advice of all members and honorary members willing to contribute constructively. First, when taking these decisions, we have space for an open discussion among all members and honorary members. This happens in advance of the GA through the Lumio polls and comments, and during today's live session, where you can express yourselves freely by raising your hand or intervening or writing in the chat. So I will recognize those who would like to express their comments or questions. In the event that objections are raised, either before or during the GA, so we will be informed accordingly by the Secretary if there are any objections expressed by email through the Lumio. We will seek to understand and resolve them by facilitating a discussion of the objections and propose alternatives until everyone present is sufficiently satisfied and agreement is reached. That's how we come out with the consensus. Especially, it's important, if no objections are raised, consent is assumed, and we move to confirming the decision by asking for a member to propose a motion to approve the decision and another one to second the motion. Okay, that's clear. Now, today's election will be for 4 regional representatives, all of whom were nominated through the ongoing regionalization process and in line with our governance procedures and the 4 thematic representatives. To ensure we are all on the same page, I will then explain to you how the council elections work. First, the nominees will introduce themselves, and we will read the bio, the resumes of those who will not be able to join us today. But otherwise, if they're present, they will read their biodata. Secondly, we will have a discussion with the nominees present. I will call for, and they will be around, and then I will call for any questions from the memberships, questions to the nominees. Okay. Third, the nominees will be moved to a virtual waiting room in Zoom. So we have that facility. I will call for further discussions with the members remaining in the Zoom room. So we bring them outside of the discussion, the General Assembly, and then we will have an open discussion while the nominees are waiting in the waiting room. Okay. We will now check with the Secretariat how consensus is also shaping up on Lumio. And then after we have come out with a consensus, with a decision, we will now welcome back the nominees and share to them the results. You know, it's either we approve by consensus or we still have some questions. So it requires further discussions. Okay. To begin our elections, I would like to ask Xaviera to introduce the nominees whom we are considering today. Savi?
Hello, Teddy. I'm here. Hello, everyone. So now I will introduce each of them and read the biographies of those who could not join us live before we move to a discussion. As a reminder, all of the nominees' bios were shared in advance with you via Lumio, and you're welcome to look at them on your own devices if you wish to do so. First, we have Paul Saint-Poix, who is standing for his second term in the council, this time as regional representative for Southeast Asia. His nomination has the consensus support of the membership in this region. So Paul, if you're there, please take the floor.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes,
Paul, loud and clear.
Yeah, sorry, I think my video is not on. I am in the village in sort of northern Chiang Mai in the mountainous region with other friends and colleagues, and with Amy also with me here standing and eating. So sorry, no, my video doesn't work and the connection is weak. So Teddy, I need to introduce myself. I think it's been already introduced, right?
You read your biodata. You have to convince us that we are approving by consensus that you are the regional representative for our region in Southeast Asia.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I was elected at the recent regional assembly of the Southeast Asia consortium. And yeah, as we agreed that the chair of the region will be nominated as the council member of the global ICCA. So yeah, I'm very happy to be nominated. And if I am elected to the council member, I will do my best. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. So now, second, we have Eunice Chepkemoi, who is standing for her first term as regional representative for East Africa. This is a new position that was proposed through the regionalization process in Africa, and her nomination has the consensus support of the membership in this region. Unless Eunice is here in disguise, I think she could not join us today. Okay, so I will read her bio instead. So Eunice Chepkemoi is a member of the Ogiek community, a hunter-gatherer community inhabiting parts of the Manu Forest complex in Kenya, and works with Ogiek People's Development Program, OPDP, a member of the ICCA consortium. She has been advocating for the rights of the Ogiek people with a gender approach due to the challenges they have been facing as a result of land injustices. Empowering them has been at the center of her work by ensuring they understand their rights and can engage effectively in decision-making processes. She has represented the voices of women and the Ogiek people at the national, regional, and international level. Her work has witnessed how women are getting involved in championing community rights, being included in community leadership, and demanding recognition of their territorial rights. Eunice also holds a bachelor's degree in community development. Okay, so now we move to the third nominee, which is Soufiane Msou, who is standing for his first term as regional representative for North Africa. This is a new position as well that was proposed through the regionalization process in Africa, and his nomination has the consensus support of the membership in this region. I think Soufiane is here, so please go ahead.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry, my English is not very good, so I will speak in French. Salut tout le monde. Je suis ravi.
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be with you. I'm sorry I'm on the road because tomorrow we have a party here in Morocco. So it's a big day tomorrow. So I'm really happy to be here with you. And I hope that my membership will be approved in the assembly. We already have started the work at the national level. And to present me, I work for the Moroccan Biodiversity Association. I'm a member of the consortium, and I coordinate the program about the territories of life, and I participate about the national coordination of the territories of life. And we are trying to develop a network of territories of life here. So the activities linked about the documentation of territories of life is busy. We are recording and monitoring and trying to find them and to gather them, and we want to have a database about those territories. I'm also a doctor in environmental ecology. I work around biodiversity, also microbiology, also about biocultural issues and governance systems in the High Atlas. And I hope that my collaboration with the consortium will create added value for everybody to go further and to raise the issues of territories of life. And I'm really happy to be here with you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Soufiane. I think Eunice is actually here. So Eunice, if you want to introduce yourself or say some words, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Eunice, and I work with the Ogiek People's Development Program. This is an organization that works to promote and advocate for the rights of the Ogiek peoples. So I come from a small community known as the Ogiek, which is a hunter-gatherer here in Kenya, and they are inhabiting parts of the Mau Forest Complex. So I've been advocating for the rights of the Ogiek people with the gender approach, especially because of the challenges they have been facing that comes in as a result of the land injustices, which the Ogiek community has been facing for a very long time. So my work actually has been to support the Ogiek community to understand their rights, to understand the legal framework so that they are able to advocate for their rights by themselves. And I've been able to support this community by participating in different levels or processes at the local, national, and also international level. So my work has really supported this community, and also especially in terms of development of the biocultural protocol, engaging in the climate justice strategies, and also protecting of their territories, because this is the community who has a lot of attachment with their territories. So I've been in forefront, especially ensuring the women take part in all the programs or all the projects which we are doing, and also the community take part, be part and parcel, because this is where they are counting on for their livelihood and for sustainable development. So that is the work which I've been working with the Ogie peoples, and I believe my engagement with ICCA will be of help not only to me but also to support the consortium as a whole, and will be of help also to the organization. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Eunice. And it's good that you had the opportunity to speak instead of me just reading your bio. Thank you very much. So now we have not Amy Min, sorry, who is standing for her first term as thematic representative for gender equality. This is the first nomination for this position since it was created in 2021 governance procedures, and we hope it will help strengthen our collective work on gender equality. I think Amin could be here with Paul as they are gathered for a congress in Myanmar. Paul, could you confirm, please?
Sorry, she is not here actually with us. She is in New Zealand right now. She said she will join.
Okay. So maybe I'll read her bio for us to get to know her. And maybe if she joins after all, we can give her some minutes. Thank you, Amy. Sorry. So Na Min is an indigenous woman from Myanmar working in the capacity of director at promotion of indigenous and nature together, Point, ICCA consortium member since September 2013. She advocates for sustainable environmental and economic policies for all Myanmar people, regardless of gender or ethnicity. She has been a long-time advocate for indigenous people's roles in climate change response under UNFCCC. Since COP20, she has continued her engagement in climate change issues related to indigenous peoples at local, national, regional, and international level. In addition to this, she actively works on indigenous women's issues, biodiversity protection, promotion of indigenous knowledge. Academically, she's a student of international development and environmental policies. So now, as I see he has connected, we have Felipe Gomez, who is standing for his first and final term as regional representative for Mesoamerica and the Caribbean. His nomination has the consensus support of the membership in this region, and I invite him to take the word, please.
Y muy buenos días a todas y a todos. Bueno, estoy agradecido por toda esta gran asamblea general.
I am very grateful for this assembly, General Assembly of the Consortium. And as we have said in a very humble way, we are always fighting and we will always fight within the consortium as honorary members or not. We will keep fighting and we will keep working. There's a lot of motivations, mainly in the defense, advocacy of territories of life. This is a very strong theme that, from my own point of view, has to be considered as the main points. The threats are strong the violence against collective goods, the persecution, criminalization of events that doesn't really frighten us, but it motivates us to assume that we have a big duty to do, to carry on these processes. And the consortium is a big association internationally that has the capacity to support these aspects that are occurring with the organization members that are living in a specific territory. This is a big inspiration of which I manage. In November, there's a big agreement. I think, yeah, I hope I'll do my best. I'm very respectful of this assembly, and I always have understood that the highest authority, as much as in Latin America or worldwide, is the assembly, and this is what I wanted to express. I have presented all my documents. But the most important is the decision of the assembly, and I believe that we have to respect this assembly, and this is the only thing I want to say. I have a little sore throat. Sorry, I have little health problems, but I'm very motivated. I'm very confident that with all the past experience, all my past experience, despite my difficulties, I'm going to do all that's on my hands. I repeat the topic about the defense of the territories of life, and this is the topic that most inspires me and motivates me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Felipe, for these powerful words. We send you a big hug. We know you're having some health issues, so big hug and energy from the consortium. I think also AA just joined, so maybe AA, if you want to introduce yourself or say some words, please go ahead.
Yeah, this is EE. And I want to introduce for you all to remember me. I work for environment and indigenous people, and my name is also what represent me of my work. And I'm working at the regional level. However, I'm from Myanmar, and I'm also current indigenous woman. So working in Asia for many years and working together with all the indigenous people in Asia, I really realized the important role of indigenous women in taking care of the nature and the land and the things, everything in it. And I'm really passionate to work toward raising the voice of indigenous women at the global level and at the regional level, and make sure a better rights for indigenous women to have a change on the ground, because we are trying to engage at the global and regional level because we want to see the changes for indigenous women in every day of their life when they live on their land and taking care of their natural resources and the environment that they really value for. And looking at the situation in Asia, it is not that easy for indigenous women to come up with their taking care of their territory of life, because there are like many barriers for them. But we cannot just give up. We have to work hard. That's the reason I want to engage at the regional and global level, so that we can help each other hand in hand and work together, so that everything we struggle, we can overcome, and until the day that we can really reach our goal, we need to be together. There's thank you for the team from Asia that who helped me, support me to be part of this team. I'm still a lot to learn, but at the same time, I hope to contribute of everything I can do. At the moment, I'm focusing my study on indigenous people and climate change, and I'm doing my PhD. And at the same time, at the regional level, I'm one of the Asia member to the Permanent Forum, which is a new role, but also trying to make things more effective. So from all those things that I trying to work, I hope to make sure that I can contribute part of this ICCA consortium as well. And please help me. And also I'm really happy to work with you all and learn from you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, EE, if I got your name right. We really appreciate you being able to join us, because we know it's very late where you are. So thank you very much for being here and for these powerful words as well. And now we will go to June Rubes and Carlos Licon, who were nominated for a second and a first term respectively as joint thematic representatives for documenting territories of life. I think June is here already. So June, please go ahead. Okay, I think June is not here still, so we will go back to Myanmar with Esther Hua, who is here, who is standing for her first term as thematic representative for youth and intergenerational relations. Esther uses a pseudonym, and her photo is not shared here because of security concerns with the military junta in Burma and Myanmar. Esther, please go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Actually, so I believe that everybody in here is I can trust. So yeah, so I can introduce myself. My real name. My real name is Noetiwan, is my India's current name, and then too easy, you can call me as Esther. So currently, I arrived at the village. So my background is a little bit messy and noisy. Yeah. So yeah, I will introduce myself. So yeah, I'm from the southern part of Myanmar, and there we call the Nitai region. I'm current indigenous woman. So yeah, I'm also a honorary member of the ICCA consortium, and then I have worked for over years, helping my community to document and secure their rights over their land and biodiversity. And then I'm also work with current youth groups in the local level, and then through national level, and then also to the national level through my All Burma Indigenous People Alliance. And then I have the coordinator of Conservation Alliance of the Northern, which is one of current environmental groups, and then advocate for the indigenous indigenous-led conservation. So currently, I'm coordinating the All Burma Indigenous People Alliance as a secretary. So this alliance is from across the country. So our members are across the country now. So which also include youth. So in my society, I represent as a youth and women, no? And in my alliance too. And then so in my alliance and then for my country, so yeah, I have been working for the under the climate change and for the unjust people rights. I'm working with communities through communities not through my region and then across the country with my alliance. So which is documenting and they're doing research and they raise the voice from the grounds, doing advocacy and campaign. Moreover, I have been involved in the COP and CBD, raising the voice from Myanmar, and there also includes youth voice from Myanmar. So yeah, currently, so when we see youth now, the youth they play the vital role in the biodiversity protection in my in just current communities now. Also not only current people, also from the global, no, and there you are the active members, no, and that they learn from our elders and that they coordinate conservation and forest protection activities across our territory. So yeah, so and the youth are our future, no. So yeah, so if am nominated from as the mandate from youth, so I will try my best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Esther, and thank you for joining as well. So last but not least, again, we have June Rudes and Carlos Licon, who are nominated for a second and a first term respectively as joint thematic representatives for documenting territories of life. So I think, I believe Carlos is here with us. So please go ahead, Carlos.
Hola, hola.
Hi, hello everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the assembly. I wanted to say hello from Sonora in Mexico. I'm a writer. I'm a cultural management, content development, and communication material development with the documentation approach for a citizenship engagement and defense of the territory. I thank all of you this moment, this very important space for our integration aspirations and unity of Latin America with the rest of organizations who belong to the consortium around the globe. Thank you very much, Latin America Documenting Group, which I belong to, for this nomination shared with June Ruiz, and a huge task to document our territories of life. In the organization I belong to, we have been working for more than 14 years with different base communities to build better life conditions for indigenous people and local communities. From our organization, and we try in the work of documenting Latin America, the engagement is crystal clear. We want to foster the unity and engagement to create new mechanisms for auto-strengthening globally. Integration and unity while recognizing the diversity and identities of all of these territories. The best, our best knowledge will be useful in order to acknowledge the self-determination and of our territories in territories of life. I want to highlight my engagement with the work task force, and I will wait your decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Carlos. What a voice. You got us amazed at your voice. Thank you very much for introducing yourself. So I think June is not here. She was here a few minutes ago, but I think she's having internet issues, so I will read her bio before moving on. So as a former conservation biologist, June Rubes has about 12 years in hands-on wildlife conservation fieldwork in both Indonesian and Malaysian Borneo. She has also worked on indigenous land rights and environmental issues in collaboration with indigenous activists and NGOs in Malaysian Borneo, Sarawak, and Sabah. She has carried out research in Bidayu ritual revitalization under the guidance of her Bidayu father and relatives, linking their revitalization with environmental change in her home state of Sarawak, Malaysian Borneo. Much of her approach to her work follows the teachings of her parents, including her late Bidayu father, following his own parents' journey as traditional Bidayu priest and priestess. Her recent PhD research examined the colonial indigenous approach to orangutan conservation in Sarawak. She holds both an MS in environmental change and management and a DPhil PhD in geography and environment from the University of Oxford. Yoon is an honorary member of the ICCA consortium and has served a full term as co-chair of Documenting Territories of Life in the ICCA consortium's Global Council from 2020 to 2023, participating actively in the consortium's activities in this stream of work. Now, this is a special nomination as part of the regionalization process after a series of deliberations immediately before, during, and since the third session of the General Assembly in May. The membership in Latin America has requested the creation of a new position in the Global Council. In addition to the 3 existing sub-regional positions in Latin America, this new position would encompass the whole region and would typically be filled by the president of the Latin American Regional Council. The proposal for this new position was considered and approved by the Council in line with the governance procedure. As per the wishes of the membership in Latin America, Luis Guillermo Izquierdo, who was elected in the GA session last month as the regional representative for the Amazon, will instead serve in this new council role for Latin America as a whole. If confirmed by the General Assembly today, the membership in the Amazon region will discuss and nominate a new representative for the Global Council at a later date. So, Luis Guillermo, if you're here, please take the floor if you have some words for us. Thank you.
Sí, buenos días.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon and good evening for everybody, for all the territories we live in.
Bueno, en primer lugar quisiera
First of all, I wanted to say hello to all our colleagues gathered here, and special greetings from here in Sierra Nevada, which is the north of Colombia. And I will start my personal presentation like that, and my background in favor of the territories. As you said, at this very moment, I'm in charge of dynamizing the territories of life network in Latin America. And well, after the decisions of the General Assembly last month in June in Costa Rica, January, sorry. Well, I belong to indigenous people in Colombia, Coahuaco, in Sierra Nevada, in Santa Marta. In Colombia, we are more or less 115 indigenous people. We consider ourselves ancestral inhabitants of these territories. Well, my organization, the organization I belong to, is Confederación Indígena Aitona, and we also belong to the Territories of Life Network, in Colombia.
También como Confederación Indígena, pues,
Furthermore,
miembros
as the
del
Confederation, Indigenous
consorcio.
Confederation,
En
we belong
calidad
to the
de estas
consortium
dos formas organizativas,
with
pues,
these two
es que me
different
encuentro hoy
organizations.
acá
And
y
well,
en
that's why I'm
representación
here
de
today
he
representing them.
venido como trabajando en el
And I
marco
have been working
del cuerpo directivo y
in
también
the
de la Red
framework
Colombia.
and the
También contarles,
ICCA
pues,
network
que
in Colombia. I want to tell you as well.
Casi no toda mi vida, pues me
Well,
he dedicado
almost my whole
a la
life, I have dedicated
colaboración, al
myself
apoyo
to
desde
collaborate and
distintas
support
perspectivas en algunos
from
tiempos
different approaches.
haciendo de apoyos como instrumentales muy
For
técnicos.
example,
Los últimos
technical
tiempos un poco
support.
más como en el
Lately,
marco de
I have been working
liderazgo
in the leadership framework
delegados por las autoridades tradicionales de mi pueblo.
with the traditional delegations of my people. And well, we have always worked and consolidating our ancestral territory. I wanted to remind you that we have suffered, we have lately suffered the steal of our lands, and we are currently reivindicating and getting back our rights in Colombia, and that's why our mission, our fight has always been come back to our ancestral territories in this ICCA framework process, and it has allowed us to go hand to hand with the knowledge, different knowledges of this process. With the consortium, we have been working to get back our lands. Some of them belong to third parties at this very moment, all the enterprises. And we have been able to discuss it, to deepen the topic, and try to reach our territorial goals during this macro process. And with everything we have done during this ICCA framework, I wanted to show what I have been doing with my people, especially with our authorities. It's very important in our region because they guide us, they decide our actions and our work at the end of the day. I have also been linked to all the representative topics relating the Colombian state and how we apply previous consultations and the planning tools here in Colombia. Those are development national plans agreed with different governments. Those are the process. I wanted to simplify it a bit. Well, I wanted to tell you a bit about it, that at this very moment, since I belong to the Global Council, I will work with my experience, my enthusiasm, and I will work for our global network to keep building together different alternatives, allowing us to defend and keep our territories of life. And since in this movement, which is extremely important for me, that's me, Luis Guillermo Izquierda Mora. And well, I will tell you more things later. I will be open to the dialogue. Thank you very much, everybody. I will be doing the last session, and I will be willing to answer anything you may require. Thank you.
Gracias, Luis, and thank you to all the other nominees for the council. We will have a chance to ask them questions later. I think, well, almost all of them are present except for June. But perhaps any member of the Committee on the Documentation of the Territories of Life can vouch for her if there are any questions for June. We still have one nominee, this time for the Global Council of Elders. We have Jose Maria Gualinga Montalvo, who was nominated to join the Council of Elders based on his exceptional experience and commitment to the association and its mission and his outstanding work in support of the territories of life. So he was chosen, he was nominated by the existing members of the Council of Elders. And this nomination was considered and discussed and provisionally confirmed by the Council last June 22, which is in line with the governance procedures of the consortium. So may I ask if Jose is present to explain more or to tell us more about himself and how he feels about his nomination to the Council of Elders? Senor Jose? Okay, I was just informed that Jose is not around, so let me just take this opportunity to read his biodata. So Jose, originally from Sarayaku, is a charismatic leader of the Quechua people of Sarayaku, an important member of the ICCA consortium in the Ecuadorian Amazon. Jose has been the president or the Tayak Apu of the Quechua indigenous people, several times member of the advisory team of the governing council of his people, and is currently coordinator of the plan for the strengthening of the Causac Satya or Selva Viviente Declaration. He was the leader and representative in Europe of the political promotion of the Organization of the Indigenous Peoples of Pastara. No, I'm sorry, Pastaza. He is the author of the Plan Sisa Nambi, or the Camino de Flores o Frontera de Vida, and co-auditor of the documentary Sangre Negra, El Canto de la Flor, and he has participated in the creation of the Kindi Chaliwa, or Canoe of Life, which currently is held in the Museum of Man in Paris, France. He is also the author of the proposal for the declaration of Causac Satya, Living Forest, which was approved by the Quechua people of Sarayaku. In Montreal, in 2018, Jose himself presented the declaration of the General Assembly of the ICCA consortium, which enthusiastically endorsed it in the main video of the consortium. The opening words were delivered by Jose. Okay, so that's it. We have the nominees to the council, including the regional representatives as well as the thematic committees, and we'd like to thank them. So now we will give the opportunity to the general membership to ask questions to the nominees and clarifying questions. You may raise your hand or place your comments and questions to any of the nominees in the chat box, and I will recognize you and ask the nominees to answer your questions. So we'll give you a bit of time to reflect on the nominees of Paul, Eunice, Esther, EE, Sufyan, who else? Luis, June, Carlos, June and Carlos, and Felipe. Any questions for our nominees? After the question and answer to our nominees, then we will ask them to go to the waiting room, after which we will have an open discussion on the nominations. That's where we're going to have a decision by consensus. Whatever the decision is, we will then invite the nominees back to our Zoom session and we will inform them of our decision. Okay, but for now, they're here. They're present to answer any questions or comments that you'd like to present before the body. I'll give you a few more minutes. Put in the chat box your questions or raise your hand. Or click the raise hand button. Questions? Okay, I see a hand raised. Am I correct? From Ikanbay. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Ikanbay Hijaba. You're hereby recognized, sir.
Hello. Thank you very much, Teddy. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes, go ahead.
Okay,
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you for such opportunity. I am from Mongolia, and we are now this year going to register 3 communities, local communities, to ICCA registry. They are from different regions. But you know, in Central Asia and Mongolia, the indigenous people and local communities, history and the specifics are different in some specifics. So I just wanted to ask to Miss June, I think she's from Asia. So how she can maybe a bit help on documenting the registration. We are first time from Mongolia. We are proposing 3 committees. I already delivered the registration, already a bit accepted on ICCA registry. Now we are working on to define the territory of life area through MAPEO and so on. But there are many things we should clarify. So I will be happy if June is not here, or we can, she can maybe mail to us. Can she have provide some assistance or help to us by electronically, by email or so on? Thank you very much. It's my just short question.
Thank you, Ikanbay Hijaba from Mongolia. I don't think June is present, but is there anybody from the committee on the documenting the territories of life who could respond to the question on how we could, how the committee, how the consortium can help in the documentation and registration of the territories of life in Mongolia? Anybody from the committee?
Hi, Teddy. This is Holly. Briefly, I wonder if even Ali Jun would like to pitch in to that, just as regional coordinator for West and Central Asia, just in case no one else is in a position to respond. And it's not exactly Mongolia, but a little bit linked there.
Yeah, hello everyone. Just need to mention this point that a couple of years ago, Hugo stole Mongolia from our region. So Mongolia is not part of Central Asia anymore, but in Central Asia, we had a process to documenting various communities. And last year, before Jessie left the ICCA registry, we have a process with her too, and right now we are going to start to work with the new person there for following the registration process in the framework of the IC registry in Central Asia and West Asia. We already have almost 15 documented communities there, but we need to update and modify some information there. But unfortunately, we weren't involved in Mongolia.
So the way I understand it is Mongolia is now with the East Asia region, with Hugu as the regional coordinator. Is that right, Ali?
Sorry, can I comment?
Go ahead, Kanbai.
Yes, thank you, Holly and Ali. Yes, the Mongolia is by ICCA consortium via, I think, in Northeast Asia. So it's like we are in Northeast Asia as Hugu maybe come from. So it's a pastoralist communities. So we have, I think, Northeast Asia, we have a regional coordinator from China, I guess. Thank you.
Okay, Kanbai. What we can do now, because June is not present, but we will refer your question to her, as well as also refer your requests, if ever there's any, to the regional coordinator. No? But in the meantime, the ICCA consortium has this self-strengthening process guidelines, and this is something that you can access. There's a link here in the group chat, or maybe we can email you, or you can go into the website and access these self-strengthening guidelines, or email you the link to these guidelines. No, but otherwise, we will definitely pass on to the committee on the documentation for the territories of life, as well as our regional coordinators, the regional coordinator covering Mongolia, so that they can assist you in your requests. Is that okay with you?
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Teddy. It's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Any other questions to our nominees? Okay, going gun. So now, may I ask Gael to shepherd our nominees into the virtual waiting room, so that we can have an open discussion among the members present about their nominations. So thank you again, nominees. We'll see you in a while.
Sure. Just a reminder to my dear colleagues to not admit the people that are in the waiting room for a while. And I will do that.
Okay. Gael will give us a signal if the nominees are already in the waiting room, so we can start discussions. So thank you to Paul, Esther, EE, Sufyan, Eunice, Carlos, Luis,
I think we're good, Teddy.
Okay. So now, members, are there any objections to any of the nominees? Any concerns? Or even maybe you'd like to vouch for them, give your support, it's fine with me. But any reactions and comments and questions, objections, issues and concerns about our nominees, we'll give you a few minutes to raise your hand, express it in the chat box, but I'd rather call you so that you can explain it yourself. You can use the raise hand link in the Zoom. Otherwise, if there will be no questions, then I would assume that we have consensus. And then later on, when we ask the nominees to come back to join us, we would like to ask any member to make the motion. And the second, is it going to be a collective motion for all the nominees for their approval?
Hi,
Yeah.
Teddy. Yes, unless there's an objection, or if everyone's supportive of the group, it can be a batch. Thanks.
Okay. So we don't have to do it individually. We just have one common one motion for all the nominees to be approved as members of the council, and then we'll have the second, and then after that, if there are no objections, then their nominations are hereby approved. Okay. So again, any concerns, issues, comments about the nominees? Anybody from the members? Oh, I see. Ooh. Who's raising her hand?
Paola from Aldea.
Okay. Fundación. Our member, Fundación Aldea.
Gracias.
Go ahead.
Muchas gracias, Teddy. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Teddy, and thanks to the whole assembly here. I would like to show the support for the postulations for, on one side, Jose Gualinga to the Elder Council, as a part also as the TICA Network Ecuador. We are sure that Jose Gualinga, with all the strength, the spiritual strength, and also the strength in the defense for territories of life, is going to be a great support for the consortium. It's great that a member of the Ecuadorian Amazon is going to be represented in the consortium, so we would love to support his nomination. And I would like also to insist in this process, about the process that we are living in Latin America, about the regionalization process and strengthening of the membership, about in a very much collective manner. And this is why we have solicited the nomination for this representative beyond the representatives of the sub-regions. So in this case, Jose Izquierdo has been nominated, and I would also like to support this nomination. We are sure it's going to be a great support in these specific processes in relation to the defense of the territories of life. So this is all that I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula, of our member Fundación Aldea, for your message of support to the Latin American nominees, whether as Council of Elders or as thematic committee membership or your regional representatives. Okay. Any other questions, comments, objections, messages of support? Going closed. Okay. Thank you. That was fast. So now I think we can welcome back our nominees and give them the good news. No? So let's welcome back Paul, Esther, Sufyan, Eunice, Carlos, Fernando.
They're all
Felipe.
They're all back, Teddy.
They're here?
Yeah, so you can go now.
Okay, hello, hi, welcome again. We had so much discussions about your nominations, but they were all good. They're all good. So just like to inform you that there were no objections or questions. But I'd like to ask the Secretariat if there were any objections raised in the Lumio, raised in advance through email, through the Lumio link. Can you confirm? Because otherwise, for those members who are present in this session, they have no objections. They have, in fact, given their messages of support to your nominations. So for the elections of Paul, Eunice, Sufyan, Esther, June, Carlos, and Luis Guillermo to the respective roles in the Global Council and confirm the nomination of Jose Maria as a member of the Council of Elders. There are no objections in this Zoom assembly. No? I see that there's no signal from the Secretariat about any objections and comments on the Lumio. So that means we have a consensus. Okay? We all agree. So to formalize the decision of the council, we need a motion and a second. So we would like to ask any member to propose a motion for the approval of the nominations of Paul. So it will be a collective a motion collectively approving the nominations of Paul, Eunice, Sufyan, Esther, June, Carlos, and Luis Guillermo to the Global Council, as well as Jose Maria as a member of the Council of Elders. And also a second to that motion. Anybody? Please raise your hand or speak out. Okay, Ali has the thumbs up. I will assume that is the motion. Any second? Any second? Yep, I see from Saladu, yeah, and Heidi a thumbs up. So if there are no objections to the motion and it's properly seconded, we hereby approve as members of the council, Paul, Eunice, Sufyan, Esther, June, Carlos, and Luis Guillermo, as well as the nomination of Jose Maria as a member of the Council of Elders. Yay! Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations to all of you and congratulations to everyone. Yay, great, great. We would like to ask the council, the new elected members of the council, including, of course, Felipe, who is going back as well as Jude. If you'd like to say something, would like to say some brief remarks, sense of gratitude. Anybody? Let's start with who's here. From the people from Myanmar. You guys are all there, I think. All.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Teddy, thank you very much. Thank you, all the members and the councils. I'm very pleased that you trust me, although I don't speak a lot. Probably you trust my work as well as support my work, and also being given a new task. And of course, the second kind of cut me back to the council. So yeah, as I said in the also, in the communication, that I will try my best, although I'm quite also busy and doing the other tasks in the region, as well as in my work as the chair of the Saline Peace Park. So I definitely will have to manage my time, and also definitely would need a lot of support from the secretariat, from the also region, from Amy, Femi, and all of you. And yes, I think I think all of you, all of the members, be at the regional or at the global level, including the secretariat, you have been doing great things. I mean, without me anyway, you can do many great things. But since you trust me and you invite me to this council, I probably have maybe some role that I can contribute to, and as well as probably maybe learn more from you than I can contribute if I fail to contribute in my task. So I'll do my best, and then also to represent the voices of the indigenous peoples and community custodians from the Southeast Asia region, and let me know if I could be of help in anything each member of you, or your organization that you need any help, that I can be in kind of amplifying your voice. Thank you so much. And looking forward to working with you all.
Thanks, Paul. Hope to see you sometime. Is Esther with you? Would she like to say a few words?
Yes, I think she's somewhere in the jungle there.
Are you around? I see Esther, our youth council representative.
Yes, I'm around, but I'm in the jungle. So I'm really glad that I'm chosen by the ICC consortium as a youth now. So so I will try my best. So I'm looking forward to see you all and they're working with youth globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you for representing us, the youth. Okay, EE, are you around? If not, I still see Felipe with us. Felipe, and then maybe Carlos. Can you say a few words? Felipe, of course, this is her third term. Señor Felipe.
Sí, muy buenos días.
Hi, good morning.
Compu, entonces no logré captar
I have
todo,
had some problems with my
pero aquí
computer,
estoy
so I
presente.
couldn't hear everything, but here I am.
Thank you. Thank you. Any words, any comments, any gratitude, a sense of gratitude, or what do you expect since your nomination has been approved? Yes, please. Go ahead.
Ya, muy bien. Bueno, así como
Well,
dije desde el principio,
as
creo
I
que
said
las
since the
razones
very
por las
beginning,
cuales
I think the
ha
reasons
surgido
why
el consorcio es justamente
um,
por los
consortium
territorios de vida.
was born territories
Ese es
of
como
life.
el punto central.
This is the main
Yo espero
point,
que podamos como
and
levantar ese
I hope
tema
we will be
de
able to raise this topic.
De ver el tema de territorio de manera integral, que tiene que
The
ver
thing
con la
of
cultura, tiene que ver
seeing
con la identidad,
the
tiene que ver
territories
con los
of
derechos,
life
tiene que ver
holistically,
con los
related to
conocimientos, tiene que ver
identities,
con el
rights,
sistema de organización
knowledges. It's
y
related
las
to
luchas que
organizational
debemos
systems and the fights
impulsar desde cada
we need to
subregión,
foster
desde cada
and
país.
carry in
Y
each
también
sub-region,
yo
each
espero que
country as well.
podamos
And
dar
I
ese
really
paso
hope
que
we will
tomemos más fuertemente el tema de la
start this
defensa de los
step
territorios,
forward
las defensoras
and
y
keep working
defensores,
with
porque
the
es el
defense
tema
of the
más
territories
sensible
of
que se
life, because
siente
this is a very
en
sensitive
diferentes
topic,
partes, en donde
and
las
we can see it
amenazas del
in different parts
extractivismo,
with
las
threats,
amenazas de la persecución
extractivism,
cada vez es más difícil.
prosecution threats, they are
Pero
more and more difficult.
también yo deseo a todas las
But
demás
well,
compañeras y compañeros,
I wish
amigos
all
y
my
amigas
colleagues, all my
también
friends,
fueron nominados,
my
articular,
nominees,
o sea, lograr
colleagues, I would like to
un
work
mayor
with
diálogo
them in
entre
order
nosotros,
to
una
have a
mayor
further
complementariedad
discussion between us, to
en nuestros
complement each other
conocimientos, en nuestra
in
experiencia
with
y
our
sobre todo
knowledges, our expertise, and especially
valorar cada persona,
to
cada
value
individuo,
ourselves, value everybody,
cada
every
subregión, cada
individual,
país de
every
todo lo que ha
sub-region and
venido
country,
desarrollando,
with
porque
all the
también
work
los
we have been
contextos de
carrying,
las políticas
because different contexts
son diferentes.
and
Tienen
policies
similitudes,
are
pero hay muchas
different.
diferencias, a veces
They have
bien difícil
similarities indeed, but there are big
entender
gaps of
que
differences
debe ser
between
un
us,
trabajo
and sometimes it's difficult to understand that
igual en cada país. Habrá países en
we need
donde
to work in all
el
the
tema de
countries.
documentar
Maybe
es mucho
in
más
some countries, for example,
fuerte, otros
documenting
países el
is
tema de
a
la
stronger
defensa,
topic. In other countries,
otro
will be
país de
defense,
repente
for
le está
instance.
más
In other
interesando
countries,
a
I don't know,
fortalecer el
is
tema de los
more are
derechos
more interested in
indígenas según los
strengthening
instrumentos y tratados
indigenous
internacionales.
people rights
Pero ahí está
regarding
la
international
complementariedad.
tools.
Yo
But
creo en
that's
la
how we
complementariedad,
complement each
creo
other.
en la
I
diversidad
believe
y
in this.
creo que es la única
Where I
forma
believe
como el consorcio puede
in diversity,
alimentarse,
and it's the only way the
aprovechando,
consortium
facilitando y
can
motivando las
feed itself,
distintas
animating
experiencias y
and
conocimientos de cada
different
uno de sus
activities, experiences,
organizaciones
and
miembros, de
knowledges
cada
in
uno de
all
sus
the
miembros
member
honorarios.
organizations,
Y
with the
creo yo
honorary
que
members
tenemos que
as well.
levantar
And I
más
strongly believe
el
that
espíritu, el ánimo, la
we need
motivación de
to
todos los
raise the
miembros
spirit and
honorarios, porque hay
motivation of
muchas
all the
personas que
honorary
son miembros
members,
honorarios,
because there are a
pero
lot of people
seguramente
who
por
are
las
honorary
dificultades,
members,
las
but
limitaciones
maybe
en la
because of
tecnología
their
y otros
limitations regarding
factores no
technology
logran
and
aún
all the
salir
factors as well, they
a
cannot
mostrar que están activos, pero habrá que
show
buscar
how active they
mecanismos
really are.
de
So we need
cómo
to
el
look for new
Consejo
mechanisms
Global pueda
for the
hacer
global
buen
council
trabajo
to do
a nivel
a good
mundial, a
job
nivel de las regiones y a
globally,
nivel también de las
regionally,
subregiones. Y
and
yo estoy muy
sub-regionally as well.
agradecido, súper
And well,
agradecido
I'm really
también con
thankful,
Gracia, porque Gracia es la
very, very
persona que
helpful with Grazia too.
conectó por primera
She's
vez
the
en el
person who
2011.
connected me in
Y creo yo que esa
2011 with the
conexión,
consortium.
esa
And I
palabra, ese
believe that
compromiso que
connection,
hemos
that
dado
engagement.
Esperamos respetar,
We
esperamos cumplir
hope we
nuestras
will be
palabras
able to respect it
en este último periodo
and
pues
to be
puedo
faithful to
aportar
our word.
lo que
And
está en mis
lately,
posibilidades,
in this last
pero igual
period, I
nos toca
will
ir
do my
buscando
best.
quienes nos siguen,
But well,
quiénes son las
we need
personas que nos van a continuar
to
el
work
camino
with the
y también
people that
invitar, ¿verdad?, a nuestros
will
hermanos y
follow
hermanas de
the path, and
Mesoamérica
also
que
invite our
se vayan preparando, que se
sisters and
vayan
brothers from Mesoamerica. They need
ahí
to
sí que
prepare
documentando
themselves.
en todos los
We
niveles
are
para poder
documenting all the
asumir cualquier
levels
responsabilidad en su
in order
momento,
to take
porque
responsibilities
todos somos
when
personas
needed,
que vamos a
because
tener
we
que
are all
regresar, tenemos
people
que ir,
and
pero mientras
we will
tenemos
need
vida,
to come back.
continuaremos.
But
Así que estoy muy
while we are
agradecido.
alive,
Muchas
we will
gracias,
keep
Teddy.
working. So I'm really
También esa
thankful.
es otra
Thank
de
you
las
very much,
personas que a mí
Teddy.
me motiva, su
And
persona.
you are another person that
Persona,
motivates
Teddy,
me a
para
lot,
nosotros es muy
because
importante por
I
la
mean,
línea que
for us, you
desarrollas en
are
el tema de
extremely
la
important
participación y la
in
democratización
your work,
en el
your
proceso de
your
regionalización.
working
Eso hemos
participation in
visto,
the
lo
regionalization
hemos
process. We have
comprendido,
seen your work,
y
we have
también
understood
a
it,
nuestra secretaria global, a Holly,
and well,
que le tenemos
thank you to
muchísimo
Holly as
aprecio.
well.
Esperamos que también
We
nuestra
hope,
salud
we
nos
really hope
permite responder
our health
los
will allow us
compromisos que
to
debemos asumir.
answer to our
A todas, a
engagements we
todos
need
y a todas,
to
les
take.
deseo
So
buena salud
I wish you
y que trabajemos juntos.
to have good
Gracias.
health, and I hope we will be able to work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senor Felipe. Carlos, can we have some brief remarks? Because we're behind schedule, but yeah, we'll still
Claro
give you
que sí.
Yeah, please.
Muy bien, nada más comentar
So I just wanted to say
desde el grupo de trabajo
that from our task force in Latin America, to document in Latin America, we are working in a work plan which takes into account regarding the components, the reviewing and sending of the auto-strengthening guidelines the consortium already has. So in that sense, and especially talking about documenting, we would like to position this activity as a tool that will create arguments for a more efficient defense of our territories. Dear colleagues, all of you, thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Anybody else? I don't know if we still have Eunice and Sufyan with us. Eunice,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, Teddy, I'm here. Actually, I'm lack of words, but just to say thank you. I'm so much humbled for you all believing in me and trusting in me to be the council representative of the East African region. I really understand the role that comes with being the council member, and I'm looking forward and ready to work together with you all in driving forward the objectives of the ICCA. Thank you so much, I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Eunice. Sufyan, are you still with us? I also see June. I don't know if June has a good connection. But Sufyan first. If not, if he's no longer with us or he's not ready, June, can you say something? No, is she still with us? She's having problems, I think, with her connections, with her internet connection. So I guess that's about it. If we maybe we can, if one of these days we can hear from Sufyan, or maybe just to give a word later, by group chat or by email, expression of gratitude and acceptance.
Hola.
Oh, go ahead.
Hola,
go
hola.
ahead. Okay.
Hola, Teddy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yo
Hi, Teddy. I would like to express my feelings. So I am Amando Ramos from the Thiebault in Salvador. And in the first place, I would like to thank all of you, the whole of the members of the ICCA consortium, to allow these spaces to generate this space so our communities can have hope for life and that our Mother Earth can be very happy because there is a global organization that is trying to defend the life territories, the biodiversity, nature, and the human villages, the human communities. And I'm also very happy for these nominations from our regions and the sub-regions, especially about Luis Izquierdo and Felipe Gomez, because we are feeling very represented in these nominations, and we are very grateful for them to have taken this decision for participating in this space, and this will allow to have work, more articulation in these regions and sub-regions, and strengthening processes in this work that we are developing in the reorganization of the consortium. So greetings for each to the nominees and all the support, our support to them. So the work of the consortium can help all these regions and sub-regions, and they could walk and go forward.
Thank you, Amado. So that's about it. Let's have a brief break for 5 minutes, and then we will proceed to the last, the second part of the session. So we'll see you after 5 minutes, okay? Okay, welcome back. But before we proceed to the next agenda item, I'd just like to inform you, for transparency's sake, that there is still one very important decision that the Assembly has to act on, not now, but perhaps in the coming month, and that is the position of the presidency. My position, no? Just to give you a refresher, last General Assembly, my term as president was extended to 2023, and we were supposed to have received nominations for the president, either a nomination for myself or anybody else. Unfortunately, the Secretariat hasn't received any nomination, and so so as not to violate our statutes under Swiss law, because we cannot leave that position vacant, in the last council meeting on June 22, it was proposed that the president be given another extension of 1 year, so for 2024. There was no objections in the council, but I feel that this has to be affirmed by the General Assembly. Not today, but I will ask the Secretariat to inform the body by email so that we can participate on the issue of extending the term of the president for another year. As to myself personally, I'm very much willing to continue the work. I feel that the performance of the president can still be strengthened, can still be improved. Systems can be done to improve the relevance of the president as well as the council. So this is where I would like to get the cooperation of our council members, the new council members, because there are a lot of things to be done. So I'm very much willing to and looking forward to working with you for another year. But hopefully we can affirm that extension of the term, giving a mandate to the president another year, for another year. Okay. So now let's proceed to the next agenda item, which is the consideration of the 2023 action plan and budget. And this will be presented by our global coordinator, Holly, and our operations coordinator, Sarah, in behalf of the Secretariat. Afterwards, we will, of course, ask again the members to propose a motion and a second to approve the 2023 action plan and budget. Okay. So, Holly and Sarah, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Teddy. It's a pleasure to speak with all of you today. My name is Holly. I'm the global coordinator, and I'll be sharing some highlights from our action plan, and Sarah will share the budget for 2023. If I sound a little bit out of breath, it's because the air pollution is very bad here from the forest fires in Canada, unfortunately. So please excuse any momentary pauses for me to catch my breath. So first of all, next slide, please, Dearness. Thank you. So for our 2023 action plan, I will share three main elements of what we are focusing on this year. The first one is big picture organizational processes. The second is our ongoing programmatic work. And the third is ongoing support for membership, governance, and management processes. Keep in mind, I'm providing a very quick overview today. There is much more we could share about each of these three elements. So if you'd like any more information about any of it, please just let us know. So first, in 2023, we are prioritizing two big picture organizational processes, both of which are of fundamental importance to the consortium as a whole. First is the ongoing regionalization process. This was identified as a key organizational priority in our 2017 strategic plan in order to decentralize decision-making and ensure our collective work is really grounded in the movement for territories of life. Since then, we have invested significantly in the regionalization process, including through many national, sub-regional, and regional assemblies, the development of national networks, regional councils, and more. This highly dynamic process will continue this year, and we can see it taking root in many positive ways. Just one is the election that we've just seen of several regional representatives in our global council through legitimate processes and consensus-based decisions. I especially want to acknowledge and thank our amazing regional coordination teams for leading the Secretariat support for the regionalization process. Many of you are here today, always applauding you for this incredible work. Now, second is the organization-wide process of reflection, revisioning, and planning for the future. We are undertaking this at a pivotal time for both the organization and the movement for territories of life. It includes the development of the manifesto, which will be considered today immediately after this. It also includes taking stock of the consortium's key achievements to date and our greatest strengths, challenges, and opportunities. It includes developing a new strategic plan and also considering how we can improve our internal structures and systems to better respond to the members' priorities. A major part of this year's plans is to hold an in-person gathering in October for the first time since late 2019 with the Council, Secretariat, and Council of Elders, where the consortium's new strategic plan will hopefully be finalized. Now, I really encourage everyone from the membership to be part of this multifaceted reflection, revisioning, and planning process in the coming months. It will really help usher in a very exciting new phase for the consortium. So much gratitude for everyone who's been actively part of it so far. Now, coming back to our so-called regular and ongoing forms of support, We'll just share some very quick snapshots of what our regional and global teams in the Secretariat are doing to support the membership. This is very, very general because of the time constraints, but this programmatic work is happening across several thematic streams of work and at all the different levels where the consortium has always worked, from local all the way up to international. So at the local level, our regional teams are supporting specific Indigenous peoples and local communities with their processes of self-strengthening and their self-determined priorities for their territories of life. Could include, for example, leadership support, livelihood support, mapping, defending against threats, and so on. At the national level, our regional teams are supporting national networks in several countries with their self-determined priorities, for example, national assemblies, celebrations and culture events, policy advocacy, media, and so on. At the regional level, our teams are supporting regional networks and publications, organizing assemblies, facilitating peer learning and solidarity exchanges, as well as joint programmatic work both within and between regions, including on specific ways of life and specific ecosystems. And finally, at the international level, our team is supporting members' participation in relevant multilateral processes, including the UN Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues this past April, and upcoming meetings of the UN Convention on Biological Diversity. At the international global level, we also have lots of ongoing support with communications, advocacy, fundraising, peer learning and exchange opportunities, and more. So particularly for the Secretariat's work at local, national, and regional levels, our incredible regional coordination teams are responsible for developing region-specific plans and leading on that work. These plans are based on the self-determined priorities of the membership in each region. So if you would like more details about any particular region, please just connect with the relevant regional coordinators and also the regional council members increasingly. Yeah. So third, in addition to this multifaceted programmatic support, the Secretariat, particularly our global team, will continue to provide ongoing support for membership administration and organizational governance and management processes. For membership administration, we've so far had one intake round this year, which has nearly concluded. Many of you were part of that, as well as ongoing support with the membership database and internal communication channels. Normally, we would have a second membership round later this year. However, we'd like to propose pressing pause on new applications and nominations for the rest of this year and resuming the membership rounds in 2024. This is because, as you may have seen, the draft situational analysis identified our diverse membership as simultaneously one of our greatest strengths and one of our greatest challenges. So it is really important that we take the time to work through these layers and contradictions and opportunities together, perhaps make some necessary changes, and also clarify more explicitly how we should be deepening and growing the membership thereafter. Okay? In terms of the governance support from the Secretariat side, we have been organizing the multi-session General Assembly starting in March up until today's session, and also providing multiple forms of support for the Council, the Executive Committee, and the Membership Committee. As part of the broader process of organizational reflection and revisioning, the Secretariat will also be working with the Council and Executive Committee in particular in the next few months in order to better clarify our respective roles and responsibilities and expectations and ensure that we can work together effectively in service of you, the membership. And finally, before I pass to Sarah, we have a focus, of course, on management of the Secretariat. And this includes continued reflection on and improvement of our internal systems, ways of working together through a range of internal discussions and figuring things out around our culture and so on. Also, a strong emphasis on strategic fundraising with aligned partners to secure particularly more core support and regular administrative support with contracts, payments, reporting, and so on. As part of our organizational reflection and revisioning process this year, we are also working on a planned leadership transition and the rearrangement of certain roles and responsibilities in the Secretariat. As we all know, the consortium has grown and evolved a lot since 2020, and of course, since our very beginning, a decade before then. And there's so much potential in the years ahead. And to meet that potential, certain changes are needed so the Secretariat can effectively serve the membership in the next phase of the consortium. An intentional leadership transition is one of those changes, and it's a natural and healthy part of every organization. Now, as we have already shared with the rest of the Secretariat, the Council and the Council of Elders, and as others in the membership may have heard through different channels, Sarah, our operations coordinator, and I as global coordinator, we have decided to conclude our roles as they currently stand at the end of this year. Now, this is maybe a shock for some, but we really see this as an opportune time to plan for a change in leadership so our successors can start around the same time as the consortium's new strategic plan. This will really help kick off the next phase of the consortium with the necessary fresh energy, vision, ideas, and more. Yeah. So please be assured, Sarah and I remain fully committed to the consortium and our current responsibilities for the rest of this year. We're not disappearing, and we will do our very best to support a smooth transition and put in place some key building blocks for the Secretariat to flourish from 2024 onwards. Sarah and I are especially excited about the emergence of the next generation of leadership in the team, who will inevitably bring in their own diverse perspectives and approaches. We will share some information as we go through this process. We're working on these plans in real time within the team and with the executive committee. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't be shy. Just contact Sarah and me directly, and we'll do our best to respond. Okay? So thank you so much for the kind attention on the very high level, big picture overview of our action plan this year. I'll now pass it to Sarah to share an overview of our 2023 budget. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Holly. So to support the 2023 action plan, we have a budget this year of $1,521,455. This is more than we have ever had before and is a direct result of our fundraising efforts, and it comes from grants that we have already received or secured. So you can see the breakdown of our planned expenditures in this chart, which is now on the screen. Budget figures can be presented in many different ways to focus on differing priorities. The budget categories used here are those that are most meaningful to us at the moment. If we were to change the categories, the pie chart could look very different. The budget is intended to be a guideline of how we will spend the financial resources that we have to support the 2023 action plan. And it is updated regularly throughout the year, particularly in light of new and emerging priorities and possible new funding. So you can see from these figures that 35% of our budget, so nearly $526,000, will be spent on regional and in-country activities. This is to support regional, sub-regional, and national level activities
workshops, and assemblies. And it is transferred primarily through flexible subgrants to member organizations for their self-determined priorities. Personnel costs make up 39% of the budget at just over $595,000. And all of our grants contribute to these costs to avoid any over-reliance on any one donor. They comprise remuneration payments under consultancy agreements for the Global Secretariat, key collaborators, and select members of regional secretariats, and subgrant agreements for the regional coordination teams that are hosted by member organizations. This year, the organizational governance and management costs are expected to be around 11% of the total, or nearly $170,000. This is costs for internal meetings for the Council, Secretariat, and General Assembly, and also for the organizational reflection, revisioning, and planning process, which includes our first global level gathering since 2019 to be held in October. The gathering will offer a rare opportunity for in-person meetings of the Secretariat, Council, and Council of Elders as well. Currently, the total cost for the organizational planning process, including linguistic support for meetings, consultancy fees for Maliasili, and the in-person gathering, is expected to be around $160,000. The figures in this category particularly will be revised as we work out a more precise budget for the in-person gathering and secure further funding or reallocate existing funding to cover it. The remainder of our budget will cover programmatic travel and meetings costs, communication and publications costs, and administrations costs. I'd be very happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Holly and Sarah. There's a lot to process from the report, but I'd like us to concentrate on the action plan and the budget. Okay, so the question and answer portion will focus on the 2023 action plan and budget, and Sarah and Holly will be around to answer your questions, after which we will have the motion to approve the 2023 action plan and budget. So the floor is open to the questions from the members on the 2023 action plan. Yes, Delphine Ganapin, you are recognized. Sir, please unmute yourself. Can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I was saying that actually I support the strategy in the plan that was presented, very useful information, especially for us who would like to find ways to support the consortium moving ahead. Just a note on the budget, usually we do two kinds of budgeting, isn't it? One is budgeting what the present funds we have. I think the budget presented was based on existing funds. But once we do plan and do strategizing, isn't there also some kind of a budgeting exercise to estimate or to plan what kind of new resources have to be raised? A sort of a resource mobilization plan I wonder whether that is going to be in the works in the coming months, as it is important also to see what kind of other activities, for example, projects at the national level. I know that most of the money goes to regionalization, but wouldn't it be also good to target certain projects at the regional national level? And that means new money. So I wonder whether there would be this effort to do resource mobilization strategy for the consortium.
Sure. Teddy, would you like to collect additional questions, comments, or should we respond to each one as they come in?
Yeah, well, we have a question on the chat box about the in-person gathering. Question from David: when is it scheduled and where? But I think there's already a response also in the chat box that it still has to be confirmed. No, it's around tentatively set around October. And it's supposed to be a gathering of the council members. We elected some of them today. The secretariat as well as the council of elders. So it's not for all the members, but definitely before that in-person meeting, we will do activities to engage all the members with regards to the organizational reassessment, the strategic action plan, the coming strategic action plan. And this will serve as inputs for the discussions in October with the council of elders, and the secretariat.
Yes, exactly. No, great addition, Teddy. And just to say as well, you know, depending on how things go with the development of the new strategic plan, if there are other decisions that need to be taken later this year, there is a possibility of having an extraordinary General Assembly, perhaps in conjunction with that in-person gathering. There will be many members already represented there through the council members, secretariat members, and so on, but there could also be participation online from the full membership around the world for specific topics as needed, yeah? It will depend on how things go. We want to be adaptive and responsive to the process in the next few months. But as of now, we're working towards an in-person meeting of those three bodies in particular, so that those groups can also have meetings amongst themselves and also hopefully to adopt, approve, whatever, the new strategic plan, which is within the mandate of the council itself, yeah? So anyway, there will be many ways of participating in this process in the coming months in order to lead up to that moment. So I hope that addresses your question, David. So maybe to respond a little bit to Delphin's question, and Sarah, obviously pitch in if you'd like. Yes, I mean, this topic of resource mobilization is definitely a key priority organizationally, Delphin, and really appreciate you bringing up this question around more project-specific funding. Also, sorry to keep coming back to the organizational reflection and planning process, but it is so relevant also for this topic. This has come up many, many times so far in these discussions, both the importance of securing more core funding support for the Secretariat operations and personnel, but also core support for national and regional assemblies, general assemblies, and so on. So just the functioning of the association itself. The question of project support specifically, I think, is an open question that we need to discuss more and ensure that that is sufficiently aligned with the new strategic priorities and, you know, expectations of the Secretariat and so on. I think there are definitely pros and cons. You know, project support that comes with a lot of strings attached, a lot of administrative burden, you know, it becomes a sort of churn in itself for organizations. So my gut feeling as of now is we should be focusing primarily on core flexible support that can in turn be shared very much with the regional and national level networks and assemblies for them to get on with self-determined priorities. I'm particularly personally very hesitant about the consortium becoming project-based and donor-driven and all of these concerns. So we want to avoid that, in my view, and really focus on core support that can in turn be used for self-determined priorities with as few strings attached as possible. But we will be having more discussions about this exact topic in the next couple of months. So Delphin, you know, maybe we can co-chair that or something. I would definitely love to have your involvement in that discussion. I hope that's okay for now. Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Holly. And may I also add that in terms of funding streams for national and regional projects, part of the strengthening of the regionalization process is also to empower the regional assemblies to do its own resource generation activities, with support, of course, from the Global Secretariat in terms of connecting you with possible donors in accordance to our manifesto, our guidelines. No? But I think it's important. I do support Holly's comments on the national, the global consortium focusing on getting for the consortium and strengthening this regionalization process by empowering our regional assemblies in getting also sources of funds for the region as a whole and also with their members at the national level. No? Any other comments and questions to our Global Secretariat? Are we all good? Seeing no other comments, questions, and clarifications, may I ask anyone to make a motion, any member to make a motion for the approval of the 2023 Action Plan and Budget? Oh, there's a thumbs up. Okay. There's a thumbs
Teddy,
up.
there's a
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt, sir. There's a comment in the chat from Gracia. Can I respond to that?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's in the chat box. It's unclear why stopping accepting members. Are we stopping? I think we're just revising the guidelines, right? Yes, Holly, please do expound.
Yeah, so Gracia, definitely not stopping permanently at all. It's just a temporary pause on the second membership round this year and to resume it in early 2024. As I mentioned, the situational analysis and many discussions prior to this year have flagged very confusing membership structure, concerns that new members and honorary members are not being integrated into our culture properly because of particularly the challenges during the pandemic with, just being in person and having that sharing of experiences and relationship building and so on. So there's a real sense that among many people in many different parts of the consortium that the membership has grown a lot very quickly in the past several years. And perhaps it would be wise to just have a temporary pause while we are undertaking this reflection revisioning process in the rest of this year to really try to get a handle on how we should be growing the membership moving forward and not just continually more and more and more and more as necessarily the best thing to do, and to really be intentional and strategic and all of that about it, yeah? This is not coming from me or from Maliasili. This is very much coming particularly from the grassroots, the regional teams and others who have flagged these concerns and questions, as well as the, sometimes contradictions in our membership structure and composition, perhaps some imbalance of power between members and honorary members and so on and so forth, So it's just a temporary pause. Sorry, okay, seeing your other comment. What about the past review of membership? Not concluded. Which one are you referring to? There was the 2020 member review.
I think it's a profile of the members. How many are representing indigenous peoples and local communities? I think I remember the membership committee presenting some statistics or information about the members' profiles after we had conducted a survey of our current members and honorary members.
Right. Well, we had the 2020 member review, and that report was published for sure. There was the honorary member review that, yes, we had this sort of, you're right, Gracia, the kind of preliminary findings presented by the membership committee chair, I believe, earlier this year in the GA session 2. But yes, we do need to actually pull those findings together into beautifully designed PDF and web version and so on. So that will be, let's say the rest of this year. We can work on that. But in the meantime, you can definitely peruse the 2020 member review. I think as well, probably next year would be an important time to do another member review, particularly with the start of the new strategic plan and coming out of this great process that we're having, much more clarity about, yes, our internal strengths and challenges and really how we're moving forward. I'm really optimistic that we will have much more clarity by the end of this year about our core purpose, our core goals and priorities for the 3 to 5 years ahead, and prioritization as well. I really think that will have a lot of positive ripple effects throughout the organization by the end of this year.
Okay, thank you, Holly and Grazia, for your questions and comments and responses. Are there any other comments and questions and clarifications from the membership? So if none, can we proceed to the approval of the 2023 Strategic Action Plan and Budget? So earlier there was a motion. Is there a second? Anybody who would like to make a second to the motion approving the Strategic Action Plan? Okay, there's a motion. See a couple of thumbs up, and Marco seconds also. So if there are no objections to the motion that was duly seconded, then the 2023 Strategic Action Plan and Budget is hereby approved. Okay. Yes. Thank you again to our Global Secretariat. And finally, we go to our last item in the agenda. We've been discussing for 2.5 hours already. So hopefully we can have a very smooth discussion on a very important item, which is the approval of our manifesto. Okay. To facilitate the discussions, can I ask the Secretariat to share on the screen the process that we will undergo? I'd just like to emphasize that there's already a lot of discussions about the manifesto. Yeah. Well, it says here, this is a synthesis of 15 years of work. So since the time that we organized consortium, we have been discussing the possibility of having a manifesto. I think it was just in the last few years before the pandemic and during the pandemic, specifically in the last year, that we did some online discussions, gatherings. There were reports from which we got inputs from the members, council, as well as the general members' inputs, which serve as the basis for the first draft, which was done by our Council of Elders. So really like to express our gratitude to the Council of Elders for initiating the formulation of a draft. So the first draft was reviewed by the staff, by the EXCO, by the council. It underwent several versions, including a lot of comments and suggestions coming from the members. These were painstakingly consolidated by Gratia and the Council of Elders. We even had a final discussion with the general membership yesterday on the Manifesto of Life. And so now we are presenting the current version of this living document. So I'd like to emphasize that it's a living document, meaning to say it is not set in stone. It can be reviewed again, revisited. It can be revised. It can be enhanced and improved in the coming months, no, in the coming days, no. But it's important that at least for this General Assembly in 2023, we can approve draft for our Manifesto of Territories of Life. But we will definitely come out with a mechanism or a process from which members can suggest improvements or make additional enhancements on the manifesto, because as I said, it's a living document. It's available on the consortium website. There are 3 versions in 3 languages, so the Spanish, English, and French. We can even have other languages, no? In Italian, anybody can volunteer if they'd like to translate it in Russian. Maybe Ibek can do that, or in Italian, maybe Marco, or even in Bahasa, maybe from Southeast Asia. So this manifesto is now open to discussions today. After which, hopefully, either via email, via Lumio, we can have the members, the honorary members, as well as the members, agreeing to become signatories to this manifesto. Just like to inform you that I personally, as an individual, have agreed to be a signatory to this manifesto. The Council of Elders, all of them, have agreed to be the first signatories of this manifesto, and we are currently gathering other signatories from our members. No, but in coming days we will open the. There's going to be a process or a link via Lumio, via email, from which the members can express their intent to be a signatory to this manifesto of the Territories of Life. So for now, I'm opening the floor to any discussion or comments, questions if you still have, because as I've said, there have been several online discussions with the members, with the council who represent the members on this manifesto for the Territories of Life. The floor is now open, and I have been informed by the Secretariat that we will have a 30-minute, more or less half an hour extension. Thank you again to our interpreters, just to make sure that we have adequately discussed this manifesto and have its approval. No? Any comments? Any questions and clarifications? Gratia and the manifesto team are here to help us answer the questions. Yes, I see Aquilas and Paul. No? Go ahead, Aquilas, and then we will have Paul.
Je crois que c'est Aquilas qui a levé la main ou je ne sais pas.
Yes.
Allô?
Yes.
Je ne sais
I
pas
don't
si,
know.
merci,
Thank you.
Monsieur le Président. Je ne sais pas
I
si
don't know
c'est
if
Aquilas qui a levé la main ou
Achilles
nous avons
raise
tous
hand
levé
or
la
if we
main au
all
même moment.
raise hand at
Mais
the same time.
peut-être que moi aussi j'ai
Or
levé
maybe
la
me
main.
too. I
Je voulais
wanted to
d'abord
thank
vous
you
remercier, vous
and
féliciter
congratulate you for your
pour le
work
travail et la
and the
modération.
moderation. If
Si vous me
you
permettez, parce qu'on
allow me,
avait
because you
parlé
talked
d'Aquilas
about
là, mais je
Achilles,
vois
but
quand j'ai
when I
levé la main,
raise the
c'est
hand
ma main
up,
qui est
it's
là.
my hand.
Et Aquilas qui ressort. Alors,
C'est la main de qui? Whose hand is up?
oui, moi
I
j'ai levé
raise
la
my hand.
main.
But who are Mais c'est
Ah,
you?
qui toi? C'est
I'm
Joseph
Joseph
Itongwa de
Itonga.
Voilà,
dis ton nom. Merci.
Voilà. Je suis
I'm
Monsieur
Joseph
Joseph
Iton,
Itongwa, coordonnateur ICCA
ICCA
Afrique
coordinator
centrale.
of Central Africa.
J'aimerais
I'd like to
d'abord
thank first
remercier le président et
President and
toute
the whole
l'équipe du
team of
Conseil
the
des sages.
Council.
Je remercie
I
également
also thank
euh,
our
toute
whole
notre
team
équipe de
of coordination
coordination globale
that's
qui
doing
fait
an
un
amazing
travail
job.
formidable.
I have a
J'ai une question,
question
j'ai un
and
commentaire
a
par rapport
comment regarding the
au
manifest.
manifeste. C'est une
The
question
question
de
is to
savoir
know
les liens
links
entre les
between the
manifestos
manifest
et
and the organization
l'organisation
or
de
the
régionalisation
regionalization,
parce que nous sommes dans le pôle de régionalisation.
because
Est-ce que nous nous
we're
conformons
conforming ourselves to the
au
manifest, the
manifeste
global one
global
that
qui
is
nous lie
linking us,
au niveau
or at the
des
level of
régions,
the
il y aura
regions,
aussi d'autres
there'll be other
organisations
specific
spécifiques. Je
organization,
crois que ces manifestes, et c'est ce qui
and
nous
that's
unit,
why
même si nous faisons le
unite
travail au
us.
niveau régional, nous serons
We're
orientés par ce
oriented by this
manifeste qui est
manifest that's
global.
general.
Je crois que c'était
And
ça
that's
la
why it's the main
préoccupation. C'est ça
preoccupation.
notre
This is our
étape en tant
stage as
qu'ICCA,
an
le manifeste
ICCI,
là. Et cela même engage
and
les
this is for the
régions.
regions as well.
Et quand il y a un processus de
We
régionalisation, on
need
doit
to
se
conform
conformer
to
à
this
ce manifeste.
manifest. So
C'est ça
that's
ma
my
préoccupation.
worries.
Thank you, Joseph. Sorry, I thought you were Achilles. You were using the Zoom account of Achilles, no, but it's Joseph. Grazia, can I ask you to please respond? You know French, so you can better understand the question of Joseph. No?
Est-ce que je dois répondre en français?
Do I have to
J'imagine.
answer
Bon,
in French, I
j'essayerai.
guess? I'm gonna
Joseph,
try.
merci pour ta
Joseph,
question.
thank you for the
En
question.
effet, je pense que tu vas
Indeed,
trouver
I
dans
think
le
you'll
manifesto
find in the
une
manifest
orientation
an
générale sur
orientation,
des
a general
valeurs,
one, about the
sur des
values
objectifs qui
and the
viennent
aims
de ta
that
région,
are from
comme
your region,
ils viennent des autres régions
just
du
like from other
consortium.
regions of the
Alors là,
consortium.
c'est pas la question de
So this is a
s'y
question
mettre dans les rails du manifesto, mais
if
de
you have to put that in the manifest,
l'interpréter
but
ce
more like
qui est
interpret it
la réalité de
for what's the
ta
reality of
région, de
your
ton pays, de ta
region, of your
situation.
country,
Le
of the
manifesto nous
situation.
lie tous ensemble,
The
mais en
manifest
même
is
temps,
linking us all, but
nous
at the same
avons
time, we have the ability and the duty, if I could say, to interpret what's in it, depending on the priorities and the orientation of the members in the region. So I think it's a liberty, and that's important, but to not do nonsense either. It's not a competition. It's something that's going to follow what's linking us, and it's been linking us for 15 years, and as the interpretation of the regions. I hope it resolve your issue. Thank you.
Très bien, gracias. Bien noté, merci.
Thank you so much, Grazia. Noted. Thanks.
Yeah, I'd like to also add that we are encouraging the members and the regional assemblies that if you'd like to have discussions within your region, we will be very much willing as council to facilitate them so that we can have more intensive discussions with the members in your regional assembly. So you can just inform us through the secretariat or directly to your council representatives if you'd like to schedule an online, maybe even a face-to-face, if possible, discussion on the manifesto among the members of the region. Okay. Paul, you're recognized after which we will also call ANAPAC. I think I saw our member ANAPAC raising their hand, his or her hand. So Paul, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, the president. I would like to, sorry that I missed the meeting yesterday, that which I think the manifesto has been, discussed in length. I would like to know more about how, because it is a living document, and then definitely it will be revised, improved as it's kind of goes along. And I would like to know, like, the process of kind of approval, and then the signatories, and then how that lead to the kind of revision and improvement. Is that through the council, or because if you call for us kind of signatories, I mean, it will be kind of an open process where names can be added, for I don't know how long it will take. Yeah. So can you clarify me on that one? And then the second one is maybe similar to what Joseph has asked, that we definitely would like to bring this also manifesto and discuss it in our kind of region. No? So how that is possible. No? Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Well, in terms of process, as indicated in the first slide, that this has been a long process. We initiated online discussions on a manifesto, on a possible manifesto. I mean, personally, I think I recall that it was in 2018, or even earlier than that, when I first attended a General Assembly, and then a General Assembly in Geneva, that the idea of having a manifesto was introduced. No? But as Grazia pointed out, it has been discussed even during the founding of the consortium. But was only last year, I think, that we had more online discussions from the members getting their inputs on what they would like to put in the manifesto as our declaration of principles, our expression of gratitude, what we looked at the consortium in terms of its goals, its mandates, what needs to be done in the coming years. No? And it was, not mistaken, in May that we constituted a manifesto team initiated by the Council of Elders, no? Gratia, and then we had Hugo, of course, representing the Secretariat as well as the Global Secretariat were supportive of that. Myself, as well as other members of the council. I know June was present or was with that manifesto team, even Proven. So an initial draft was done by the Council of Elders, which was presented to the manifesto team. So it's a small committee. After which we conducted a discussion with the general members. So we invited them to make their comments. And then another draft was consolidated again by the Council of Elders, which was also presented to the EXCO. So we discussed about this, and then it went back to the council. But while we were discussing this, we had placed it, we had given copies of the draft via email to the general membership. So we were always open to more comments. And then it was a decision by the manifesto team that the council should discuss about the manifesto before this is endorsed to the General Assembly. So last June 22, this was presented before the council. It was approved by those who were present. And then as a final online discussion, the manifesto team scheduled another discussion yesterday with the general membership. And so now we have the final draft that is being presented to the General Assembly. But then again, to emphasize that this is a live document, it will always be open to revisions if there are issues and new challenges facing the consortium. No? And we look forward to having a discussion with the Southeast Asian Regional Assembly if Paul can initiate this so that we can discuss more intensively the manifesto. But for the moment, we're presenting this to the General Assembly, and hopefully if you have no more questions, some of you via Lumio, via email can express your intent to sign on as signatory to this manifesto. Gracia, if you'd like to add something more in response to the question, Paul.
Thank you. I think Paul was concerned about the future. And as you said, Teddy, in the future, it will always be possible to receive elements to enrich. He said to enrich the manifesto. He asked the question, how? And this, I would say, in the most open possible ways, as via Lumio, there is the page now for the manifesto where you can simply add your signature by saying who you are, etc. And in the same page, I think there is a possibility of adding comments and so on. But you see, from the perspective of the regionalization and wanting to remain what we have always been, which is an international movement, there is a need for a manifesto, because the manifesto is what keeps us all together. We can interpret the priorities in the regions, but if there are people who object to something that is in the manifesto, by all means, they should say it, and they should say it openly to everybody else, because it is crucially important to have something as a spine of our global movement that at the same time finds its own expression at the regional level. So we need both in order to remain together, because it's going to be, especially if something like Holly just mentioned, that the fundraising is also going to take place at the regional level. It may become even a competition from one region and the other. Unless we have something that really keeps us together, this is going to be a moment of danger for our movement. So that's what the manifesto also wants to be, something to pull together and to keep the global movement united and strong as an alliance, as it has been so far, and I hope is going to continue to be. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. I hope you're clarified all. Looking forward to discussing this at length with our Southeast Asian brothers and sisters. I'd like to recognize Satu and then Sir Dolphin. No?
Voilà, bonjour tout le monde.
Hi, everyone.
Président, bonjour aussi au Conseil des charges et au secrétariat, toutes les coordinations.
Welcome to the council. So I'd like to ask a question to Raquel regarding the manifest. We all agree that the manifest is an important tool that's going to gather all the members at the international level. But we also all agree that the context is different depending on the region and depending on the regions and the countries. So I'd like to know today is like, if today as a coordinator, if I need to exploit this document and French-speaking part or in an English-speaking part, is it possible at the council to have the council to participate to this Zoom if I needed, so other countries can participate? But I think as a coordinator, it would be better to have facilitations between countries that are not French speaking. They can participate to this debate to facilitate and explain in a more clear way to countries that did not yet received this version, this final version.
Yes, Gracia.
I don't know if Delphine should speak before because it was before me. I just wanted to reply to Salatu.
I'll do it in French so it might be clearer. So the question of use of the language is very important. So for now, we do not have the translation in Portuguese of the manifest. We will. I hope we can do it soon. But the other point that you mentioned, Salatu, again, the fact that we started to think about is the one about having, if needed, a webinar, open ones, not really explain or teach something to someone, but to discuss the points, specific points that are in the manifest, to have discussions, deeper discussions, and if possible in different languages, French, English, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, etc. That's very important, because this is not by reading something I will imagine everything, understand everything. We need to really discuss it and to know the details. And I don't only think myself, think the whole council of elders and other members, they will be available to discuss this further. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Grazia. Hope you will still have the energy in future meetings because we need you when we talk to the other regions in France, in French, and in Spanish. No? So last, we will just have one more question because we only have a few minutes of interpretation. So I'd like to recognize Delphine, sir.
Thanks very much, Teddy. I would just like to say that, you know, the manifesto is quite a very critically important document. Usually when organizations are formed, they have the manifesto at the very beginning. Even countries, when they're formed, they have their constitution first. But it did take time for the consortium to develop this manifesto, which might be actually an advantage because it is developed out of the maturity of learning from the difficulties, challenges, successes, and even failures of the consortium over time. So this is a manifesto that is built upon experience. It is built upon maturity of the alliance of the different members of the consortium. I feel that it's timely now to really at least say that we have a manifesto that can unite us, that all the basics are there, and that there's nothing there that disunites us. There might be still additions that can be made or have to be made to adapt to particularly unique situations at the regional and national level. But at the very least, the basics are there. And I myself have read this manifesto 4 times, line by line, and with a lot of reflections with mind and heart, and read all the comments and how they were considered. And I already actually sent a message saying that please consider me as a signatory, because we need an initial set of people to say that we have enough here to discuss and to unite us and to implement the consortium as a stronger organization. So I would actually encourage others to also be signatories while still recognizing that there could be additions. Now I agree with Paul that we have to be clear about how these additions are going to come about. Now there was an implication that there will be regional meetings, isn't it? Because we have now elected our regional representatives. We cannot make changes every time there is a comment. We cannot make changes every week, every month. I suggest that, you know, we make a decision also or agreement that changes will be looked into when the regional meetings occur and have discussed deeply this manifesto. In fact, you know, a manifesto can be discussed every general meeting for additions, just as Constitution have the amendments. So, but I do feel that we do now have to get signatories and at least say that we have enough unity to implement a stronger consortium and do action out there based on the manifesto.
Okay, very well said, Sir Delphine. So with that, can we now have a consensus on the manifesto? Again, to emphasize that this is a living document, will still be subject to revisions. The council, in discussion of the Council of Elders, will come up with a mechanism from which we can make some amendments in the future. Okay, but for the moment, really earnestly, we only have perhaps a couple of minutes for interpretation. So earnestly asking the General Assembly if we can have a motion for approval of the draft right now of the manifesto for the territories of life, as well as a second. Any motion? I see a thumbs up from Association OCA. Any second to the motion?
I second.
Yeah.
I second the motion. David Parkinson.
Thank you, David. Thank you, David. So it has been duly moved and seconded that we approve this current draft of the manifesto of the territories of life. Are there any objections? Seeing and hearing none, we have a manifesto for the territories of life, and we are looking forward to more discussions, especially with the regions on familiarizing ourselves with the manifesto and perhaps trying to even enhance and improve it and strengthen it. So thank you, everyone, and thank you again to the Council of Elders. Okay. So finally, as we end our General Assembly, I would like to ask Freddy Izquierdo, who belongs to the indigenous peoples of the Sierra Nevada del Santa Maria mountain range in Colombia, to introduce to us the closing ceremony. Freddy, please close our session.
Sorry, Teddy. Freddie could not join us, so we will move to closing the GA, officially closing the GA. Thank you.
Okay. Fortunately, we don't have Freddie with us, but I give blessings from the indigenous peoples of the Thiebault tribe in the Philippines. It's been a very productive session. 4 months. We had 4 sessions. Congratulations to everyone. So to close, finally, formally close our General Assembly, let's watch a video recap of our days together. And then maybe if you still are up to it, you can stay and talk and join the language-based breakout rooms before going home. So again, thank you to our members, our honorary members, our council, our secretariat, definitely, and of course, our interpreters, Aljana, Alessandra, Anais, Anya, Aurora, Barry, Camila B, Camila M, Daniela, Diego, Lucia, Elena B, Elena K, Mabel, Rachel A, Rachel H, Sürya, and Sylvia. Thank them by giving them a round of applause. And thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.